Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Thursday, February 26th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith will be here in just a moment, and we've got David C. from Raleigh, North Kakalakis back in the house here on Thursdays, ready to break down the slate. We will have a bit of a shift change, a line change, if you will, for the show next week. Starting next week, David will be joining us on Fridays, and we're going to shift Matt Robinson back to Thursdays. Which is the day he did, I was on this show for a couple of seasons before due to work and other conflicts, travel stuff. He had to do Fridays this year for his second day of the week. So starting next week, it'll be Perlo Monday, Matt Robinson Tuesday, Perlo Wednesday, Matt Robinson again on Thursday, and it'll be David joining us Fridays starting next week here on the Ice Guys show. There he is, Alex B. Smith, right on cue. And ready to talk about the Thursday NHL card. Last night, I think we all did a bit of a gasp seeing how long it took for a goal to finally get scored in the early portion of last night's first slate returning to action following the Olympic break. My gosh, there was one point there where we got deep into the second period of both Buffalo, New Jersey, and Washington, Philadelphia, the first two games of the night without a goal. We thought we had a couple of Tampa Bay goals in the first period against Toronto, but they have those goals taken off the board by two successful Toronto offside challenges in the opening period of those games. So it was a bit of a slow start offensively for the league coming out of the gate there with those first few games. But Washington gets the job done against Philadelphia last night. They end up winning 3-1. The struggles continue for the Philadelphia Flyers as they get out of the gate, pretty much the way they went into the break, struggling offensively. It's back-to-back games for them. They've only scored just the one goal. The Buffalo Sabres, we were worried, some of us at least, were worried maybe the break, interrupts their momentum a bit, but I thought they played a very solid, sturdy, sound road game and did what they had to do to get past the New Jersey Devils last night. Tage Thompson ends up scoring what was actually it was Sandin from Washington that scored the very first goal of the night in the Capitals-Flyers game, but Tage Thompson not far behind, getting Buffalo on the board early. That's a very important win for Buffalo because you know damn well that if they lose that first game out of the break, the old skeletons in the closet start to enter the minds again of not only probably Sabres players, but Sabres fans. Like, oh boy, are we really going to maybe have a swoon here and a collapse here post-Olympic break? But that was not the case, at least last night. I thought that was more important than usual for Buffalo to win that game. And they were able to do so last night against New Jersey. Toronto, they need wins desperately. They did not get a win last night. They lose to the Tampa Bay Lightning by a score of 4-2. Very fortuitous to land on 6 with the total, a full game, to get a push, even though the over by Fecta fell short with the first period. A lot of goals in the third. But how about cashing Matthew Knies' bargain bin special? What a night it was for the bargain bin special. I cashed one. Alex B. Smith cashed one. And, of course, Perlo cashed one. Perlo had Jack Roslovic to score for Edmonton. Alex had that Anaheim and Leo Carlsson parlay at plus 302. So how about that? All three of us on the show in our return to action following the break cash a bargain bin special. And, of course, the one that hit for me was Matthew Knies.
No pressure today, David.
Yeah, no pressure, David. Yeah, I know. I mean, we're on a 3-0 streak here. We got to make it 6-0 now after tonight. I got to cash one. Alex got to cash one. David's got to cash one, or we're in some trouble. No pressure at all. But no, that was great to see that, obviously, last night with the 3-0 bargain bin specials. Definitely the highlight of the night. It was an up-and-down night for me, really, with sides and totals. The early part of the night didn't start great. Seattle was a bad call. They lose 4-1 to Dallas. Give the Dallas Stars credit. Getting the job done there in that game without Rantanen, without Jake Ottinger in net. So a nice win there for Dallas. The late night games are what really turned the tide for me, made it a much better and closer to break even kind of night for me in the NHL. We had Vegas, LA over by Fecta. We had the LA team total over, which cashed, even though the LA Kings did LA Kings things. Against a Vegas team that sat out Mitch Marner, Mark Stone, Shea Theodore, Jack Eichel. they end up losing to that depleted, shorthanded Vegas team last night, 6-4. Just a very disappointing loss for LA, thinking, hey, Vegas has got multiple key contributors out. We've got Artemi Panarin making his Kings debut here on home ice. Perfect spot to get a win coming out of the break, get some momentum going, and they deserved to lose, too. That was a horrific third period. They were getting outplayed. They were getting caved in, this Kings team, in their own zone by a Vegas team sitting half their team. It was just a really, really bad look for the Los Angeles Kings. Not the first time they've had a really bad look in a game this season. But Vegas with the 6-4 win, and even with LA losing, we cashed every bet, including that Kings team total, as they get to 4 goals there in that one. Of course, also in the late night hours, we saw it was, Colorado, Utah. I knew I'd skipped one. Yeah, kind of disappointing for Utah. Nathan McKinnon was ruled out before the game started. But the Colorado Avalanche, give them credit, still were able to get the job done and find the win column last night, 4-2 over the Utah Mammoth. Dylan Guenther with both goals for the Mammoth, but not enough. Kelly, Olofsson, Nelson, Natchez getting the goals for the Avalanche. Wedgwood was pretty solid in between the pipes there for the Avalanche, helping them get the win. Winnipeg, not pretty, but they get a 3-2 win in overtime against Vancouver. Disappointing, the full game over, fell short. Did have the first period over, but to lose the full game was kind of frustrating as it really slowed down in the third period. It was a scoreless third period in that Winnipeg-Vancouver game, but they end up winning it in overtime 3-2. And then Edmonton-Anaheim, where all hell broke loose last night in that game. I mean, Edmonton gets out to that 2-2 start, blows the lead. Anaheim ties it 2-2. Edmonton with 2 quick strike goals, 4-2 going into the third. You think, okay, that might have broke Anaheim's back there, those 2 goals late in the second. Now Edmonton's going to put it away, and nope, they still don't put it away. Anaheim ties it 4-4. Edmonton actually goes back up 5-4, and then Anaheim ties it again 5-5, courtesy of our guy Seneca tying the game. And then Cutter Gauthier late in the third period ends up giving the Anaheim Ducks the 6-5 lead. And they would go on to win 6-5 over the Edmonton Oilers. That's equal. Great comeback, Anaheim. Horrendous loss for Edmonton. Tristan Jarry pulled after the 5th goal as well, which is a sign that, you know what? And plus, they had it lined up. I'm sure that Connor Ingram was going to start tonight for Edmonton on the back-to-back in LA. It was going to be Jarry last night, Ingram tonight, and it was so bad for Jarry there that Chris Knobloch couldn't see anymore. And even with Ingram slated to start tonight, he had to put Ingram in there in the third period. That is an indictment on your goaltender when a coach is doing that. Pulling a guy when he knows the other guy is going to start for him the next night tells you how bad it got. But unbelievable comeback by the Ducks. Horrific loss for the Oilers last night. And the 1,000th career win as a head coach for Joel Quenneville. Great celebrations. I love the scenes in the dressing room after the win. They did the team photo, the players with Coach Q, and also they had the fake Coach Q stashes, rocking those in the dressing room after the game. That was a great scene there. And there is a grand total of 2 head coaches in NHL history that have now reached the 1,000-win mark. Scotty Bowman, Joel Quenneville. That is it. It's a very, very short list. It's a very exclusive group. And Joel Quenneville is now part of it. Tremendous career for Coach Q, hitting the 1,000-win mark, Alex. And I know as a Blackhawks fan and all the great years Coach Q had in Chicago, very happy to see that for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, like I said, happy to see the win first off, with betting Anaheim, getting the Leo Carlsson goal as well, catching that bargain bin. But like I said, that was such a great moment. It was funny when that game, when Carlsson scored and made it 4-3, I felt like this is going to be a crazy enough game, knowing that it would be Q's 1,000th victory. Like, and he said there's been a lot of wild ones during that stretch. And I like I said, as a Hawks fan, I can recall a lot of wild victories that Q picked up with our team, but to get that 1,001 and in a big win. And I love what he turned it immediately onto the crowd. He said, "This has been a great crowd tonight." He says, "It's been a great crowd all season. We need you guys to keep that energy that we feed off of that, because that's what Q does. He understands every aspect of the game. That's why he's arguably the greatest coach in NHL history. He's right there with Scotty Bowman." like you said, when you're talking about a short list of only 2 to win 1,000 games in this league, you're doing something right. But that's the thing. He pinpoints on every little thing. He understands how important the crowd is and how that gets his guys up. And when they're trailing 2-0, they don't give up. When they give up a goal right after tying a game, no big deal. They just come back and tie the game on their own. That resiliency that's been missing from Anaheim for a very, very long time. Now they have that, and that's what you need to be a playoff team. That's what you need when you're in a spot where you have 6 more home games, and you can get 12 points, and now you're in second place in the Pacific Division. And who else is dangerous in the Pacific right now? Vegas didn't look that great last night, did they? Almost blowing that game at one point to LA. Edmonton looked like dog shit. So you're at a spot now where you can control your own destiny. If you want to be a playoff team, you win these games here and now. You get these points here and now. And so he understands that, and that club understands that, and they're showing that fight. So that was a great win for him, and congrats to him, 1,000 wins. It's just a fantastic coach. Like I said, I stayed up late and watched all the scenes after a post game. It was that was fun to watch.
No, it certainly was, no question. And like I said, when you've done a lot right in your coaching career when you reach 1,000 wins, and to have him and Scotty Bowman be the only 2 coaches in history with 1,000 wins, that's pretty impressive. Company that Coach Q is keeping now, because Scotty Bowman's the GOAT of NHL. Like, he won in multiple eras, multiple different styles of place. Different, like 70s, 80s. 90s, 2000s with Detroit at the end of his career. Like, he could transform different eras and adjust and figure out, what's going to work in the 90s and the 2000s that maybe wouldn't work in the 70s, that kind of thing. That's what's amazing about Bowman. But Joel Quenneville's getting into that department more and more now, and now he's doing it with an Anaheim team that, let's be honest, this Anaheim franchise has been a dumpster the last few years. And look at the strides in half a season, a little over half a season with Joel Quenneville in year 1.
Well, you mentioned about different eras. Look at Quenneville, and not only different eras for him as well, but different styles. He was an assistant coach with Colorado that was as high flying as it got in the mid 90s, winning a cup there. Then he goes to the super duper defensive late 90s St. Louis Blues. Then you come back and resurge yourself in the 2010s with a perfectly balanced Blackhawk team, create a dynasty out of that. Now, then he went to Florida. Let's not forget about how up and down Florida was offensively. And that was the kind of catalyst to, okay, they have the offensive horses, but then eventually changes were made to bring that defensive balance. And now we see how Florida has become over the last few years. He's had his handprints, just like Bowman, on quality teams throughout the last 3-4 decades. That's impressive.
No doubt. It's very impressive and well-deserved for Joel Quenneville. David, your thoughts on last night?
Yeah, I wish I could have been a little happier about that win for the Ducks, but I have the over in that one and the Oilers, and then them parlayed together. So didn't get to celebrate as much, but 1,000 wins is a lot to be happy about. It was fun watching the games again last night. It was weird after what felt like an off season, so enjoyed it. Ready to go today.
Yeah, no doubt. Looking forward to tonight's slate as well. And Vegas, you got to give them a lot of credit. Vegas, with their 5 players missing in action and able to beat LA last night, got to give them a lot of credit for that effort. All right, this is a card that I will be right off the shoot. I will say that I like this card more than last night, no question about it. So let's hope the results follow. I'm expecting a big night. This is the first time where I didn't feel like that last night. I felt I'm just looking to tread water and not take too many, give too many units back last night. That was my approach going into last night. Tonight, it's like, it's time to make some money because I do like this card. Hopefully the results follow suit. We will begin with New Jersey and Pittsburgh. We have Pittsburgh -160, home favorites, 5.5 the total. And this is the first of many games. I think it's 8 games on the slate tonight. Actually, no, Edmonton and LA both played last night, and they play each other. 7 other games, I believe, other than that one, where you have a team that played last night facing a team that is playing their first game following the break. I think it's a legit edge for the team that played last night, especially early in the game. Now, New Jersey's a tough team to back right now. There's no question. Nothing's going right. They didn't play well going into the break. They lose coming out of the break to the Buffalo Sabres last night. But at the same point in time, they've got a game under their belt, shake off the rust, have that cohesion and chemistry start to form again. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh, they're taking to the ice as a team in a game for the first time following the break. No Sidney Crosby, of course, which is a huge blow for this team, and laying a big price. Pittsburgh's definitely a poster child for a team that I think could take a step back post-Olympic break. I already have no to make the playoffs, yes to miss the playoffs in pocket with them in that plus 240 range that I took a few days ago. I think there's going to be some struggles for Pittsburgh. I don't know if they're going to lose the game, but I think early in the game, New Jersey does have an edge. So this is New Jersey, first goal, first period. It's a heck of a price on it, plus 160 for New Jersey, first goal, first period. New Jersey, first period money line. I like both of those looks, and this is going to be a familiar refrain for me in these situations tonight on the card where you've got a team playing last night against a team that played last night against a team that is playing their first game following the break. So I expect the edge to be there for New Jersey early in this game. Plus one, it's down to plus 155 now. It was 160 earlier at FanDuel, but 155 is still very good. That first goal, first period, New Jersey, along with the first period money line here for the Devils in this game. Alex, anything you like here with New Jersey, Pittsburgh?
Yeah, it's all early looks for me. Like you said, Devils first goal, first period. I think that's something you can look at with the majority of these teams that you mentioned played last night, catching teams who, had that extra day of rest, if you will. But I like first period over and first period both teams to score. Both teams to score, you get that plus 190, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, at FanDuel. So I like goals early in this one. I can see this one being kind of back and forth pace early and then maybe slow down a bit. But I can't back New Jersey to give a full 60-minute effort. I mean, they looked bad last night. That was a good win for Buffalo because you got to win some tough, gritty games late if you're going to be a playoff team, but you really shouldn't be 2-1 against New Jersey right now. Like, New Jersey looks like they've just the way that that last gasp, that last kind of 2-minute effort from the Devils, and UPL stood on his head and made some big saves, but the Devils just looked gassed. That's not a good sign when you talk about the first game back after a 3-week hiatus, and all of a sudden they look like they expend all their energy. So I can see them getting the goal early, but I think Pittsburgh could come right back after that and maybe control this game. But that's why I'm looking at first goal, first period for the Devils, along with first period over and first period both teams score.
Good stuff. Yeah, like I said, I think for me, I'm with you 100%, totally in agreement with the fact that I'm only on New Jersey early. I don't really fully trust them for the full game. And we have seen instances of this too, when this angle's been in play with off a break, an all-star break, Four Nations break, in this case, Olympic break, where the team does get the jump on a team early and they lose the game still. The other team does start to get their legs under them, get a little bit more, fluid as the game goes on. So that's definitely all things I've got to look at. I'm looking at here. There are some props I'm looking at here. And even though I like New Jersey in this game, and I do like the value with Dawson Mercer and Connor Brown, they're on the top two lines. There are still a couple Pittsburgh props I like. Shinikov was very good before the break. And I got to bet my guy from the Hamilton Bulldogs. What he did, got a hat trick in his NHL debut with Pittsburgh against Buffalo before the Olympic break, the final game before the break. Avery Hayes is going to be on that top line, it looks like, potentially here tonight with Raquel and Russ. Talk about getting an opportunity potentially here for the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's got 19 goals and 30 points in the AHL in 36 games. He didn't have a hat trick, against Buffalo. He had two goals against Buffalo that night. But yeah, if he's going to be on this top line, which it's looking like, Avery Hayes has got to be in my pocket here as far as a goal prop tonight. No question about that. What do you think here, David? Devils, Penguins?
Yeah, this is a pretty weird spot for both teams. I think the Devils are coming back. They got their first game back last night. Obviously lose with Hughes. Didn't really look so locked in. I mean, you saw a couple giveaways on the exiting his own zone, and then looking at Pittsburgh, they haven't really played much without Crosby the last few years. I think he's only missed 2 games in the last 3 years total. So I don't really know what to expect from them. It's got to be kind of weird coming back from the 3-week break and your leader for all this time isn't there for you. So I like the Devils at plus 140 or better. I think they got the value. It's kind of tough to bet on them right now because they're just honestly pretty unbettable. But I think the Valley's with the Devils. I think we see a decent decline with the Penguins without Crosby. So yeah, I like New Jersey a good bit.
It's funny because back in the day when Pittsburgh was one of the top teams in the league, Crosby missed time in pockets. He had concussion issues, different injuries and things, and they were able to, keep afloat because you had, Evgeny Malkin playing at an all-world level still. Chris Letang was, in his, 20s and early 30s, and that team could kind of float. But like you said, now that Crosby has become such an important, not that he wasn't an important piece the whole time, but he's played in way more games now in his later stage of his career. When he's missing, things start to fall apart. So it's kind of interesting where they could navigate without 87 back in the day. Now you need 87 doing just about everything.
Yeah, like I said, it's going to be interesting to see how this team maneuvers these next at least a month without Sidney Crosby. And as I mentioned, actually, it's posted on our Patreon page. I posted a strength of schedule for the remainder of the season for all 32 NHL teams. No team's got a more difficult strength of schedule the rest of the season than the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Pittsburgh Penguins have the highest combined win percentage of opponents for the rest of the regular season. So not only do they lose their captain, but now they've got to navigate by far the toughest part of their schedule the remainder of the season. So big test coming up for Pittsburgh.
I know you have the ticket for them.
He is the Penguins too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's the heart and soul of that franchise, and I know you have that ticket for them to miss. But it would be an absolute tragedy with how Pittsburgh played this year if they were to miss the playoffs. Because this was a team that we all kind of thought we've been saying it for the last couple of years. This franchise is kind of floating around dead in the water. At some point, you're going to have to pull the plug. You're not going to have 87 and 71 and 58. You're going to have to go through a rebuild that may take a fucking decade potentially. And here you are now. You got Dubas. You built up a team that is competitive enough, 2 years in from making that change to where you can be a playoff team. And now to lose, like I said, the heart and soul of the franchise, over some extra games, in my opinion, it's just tough to see.
It is because look, they've had a good season. Like we've done a lot of crapping on the Penguins here and Dubas for that matter. But look, he's made a couple nice moves here the last, I would say, handful of months, and he's sort of turning around that reputation a little bit. He's done a better job. They've obviously been better than people thought, and like I said, this will be a test. I'm not saying they could still get in, but boy, I mean, it is going to be a tough challenge for them to still hang on with the playoff spot, considering Crosby just is that important to them. You're going to need other players to step up for you. Can Ben Kindles of the world and other players for Pittsburgh deliver for you without Crosby? Can Malkin, stay healthy and make an impact? Can Raquel and Rust function without Crosby now on their line with a guy like Avery Hayes? And can Avery Hayes show that Buffalo game was no fluke, where he scored 2 goals in his NHL debut? We'll certainly see that. And I love what Dan Muse is doing. Give that kid a shot. Give him the first shot. He's clearly gave you some life and adrenaline and the 2 goals in his debut to give Avery Hayes that chance on the top line with Raquel and Rust. I like it. See what it does. See where it takes you. He was also scoring like crazy down in the American Hockey League too. So keep that in mind. Yes, Sam Girard. Haven't even mentioned that trade yet. But yes, Sam Girard, Brett Kulak was the trade. Brett Kulak going to Colorado. Sam Girard going to Pittsburgh. Colorado's clearing out salary space, to make a move, I think, at the trade deadline, clearly with this, sending Sam Girard to Pittsburgh. But they do get a nice, serviceable, stay-at-home veteran defenseman in Kulak in return, Colorado. And they get a really good, defenseman that still has a high ceiling ahead of him in Girard. So this is a nice addition here for the Pittsburgh blue line to get a young blue liner that still has lots of potential and ability and high ceiling in front of him. All right, New York Islanders, Montreal Canadiens. We got Montreal minus 145, home favorites, 6 the total. Draw for me, the obvious choice, plus 340. 4 straight meetings have gone past regulation, Isles Habs. There's really nothing more to add. I don't really want to back either side. It's a little pricey for Montreal, but not really rushing to back the Islanders here. Total, I think, could go either way. I believe in this matchup tonight, we're going to see, let me just see, where was the... there we go. I lost my screen here. As always, there we go. We're back. But we've got, Montembeault and Sorokin, your confirmed goaltenders tonight in this matchup. Montembeault, it's going to be interesting to see what we get from him. He was initially pretty solid when he returned, but then the last few starts, I know, before the break, and it was kind of a struggle again for him. Although he did reel it back in after a real struggle, 4 straight starts where he gave up 3 or more goals. That last start, that very last start he had before the break against Winnipeg, he was awesome. I remember. Montreal won that game 5-1, and it was one of his best starts in a while. So can he find that form is going to be the question. But for me, clear choice. I'm on the draw plus 340 at FanDuel is what I got with it earlier today. Alex, Islanders, Habs.
Yeah, I'd say shop around for that draw because I'm seeing he said 340. I think that's now down to 330 at FanDuel, plus 300 at MGM, plus 315 at Bet Online. So we're seeing better prices, at least in the plus 300 and higher range with these books, but we're seeing wide variance still. So definitely want to shop around. But I like the draw here as well. And yeah, I don't have a side either. I didn't grab anybody at overtime or shootout. This is just strictly a draw look, and anything else that I'll add would be in game.
All right, David, Islanders, Habs.
Yeah, I don't have anything right now, but I agree with you on the draw, and I'd probably lean to the dog. Islanders only sent 2 guys to the Olympics, so not that their focus hasn't been off with on vacations and stuff, but I could see them getting rallied around this one and taking it home. But yeah, I'd like the draw and the dog, but no play.
All right, as far as props, I do want to mention, as far as the player props are concerned, I like Oliver Kapanen tonight. I like what he did at the Olympics. I thought he was pretty solid. He's on the second line right now for the Montreal Canadiens. So as far as props, Oliver Kapanen there for me. Matthew Barzal had scored 2 games in a row with a goal before the break. You got to be a little careful riding these streaks, this first game after the break. These streaks don't always carry over, and we saw some signs of that last night, but he did score in it. Same with Brendan Gallagher, and I'm still tempted because of the price you're getting. He had actually scored in back-to-back games for Montreal before the break. So if you're looking to maybe get on board with a couple of players that at least before the break were starting to put the puck in the net, those are 2 to consider. All right, Leafs and Panthers. Leafs on a back-to-back. Florida, first game after the break for them. The 2-time defending Stanley Cup champions who are going to be maybe in tough to make it a 3rd straight Stanley Cup because their playoff hopes are hanging really on thin ice right now. Florida minus 155 home favorites, 6 the total in this game. Back to the angle that I mentioned earlier with Jersey. I'm on first period, first goal, Toronto, first period, money line, Toronto, but that's it. That's it. Just the first period. I don't know about the full game victory here for the Toronto Maple Leafs, but I do think early in the game. And plus, what I think what's really good about this particular first goal, first period bet for the Leafs and the first period money line is, don't you have to show something in the first 20 minutes? A strong, hard, come out of the gate storming type of effort for the Leafs? Like, your damn season might be on the line tonight, especially after losing at Tampa Bay last night. Like, you can't afford to lose any more ground. You've got to come out here and it's game 7 here. Like, if we lose this game, we're really going to be up against it, trying to rally back and make the postseason here with where we're at in the standings. So if you're going to see any sort of strong showing from the Leafs, you got to hope and expect it's going to be early to go along with that angle I mentioned, where, again, it's the Leafs with a game under their belt, chance to shake off the rust, get a little of that cohesion together, and Florida just assembling themselves in a game situation for the first time. So Toronto first goal, first period, plus 150, and that Toronto first period money line's around that plus 120, 25 range for me here. Alex, Leafs, Panthers.
This is a pass for me. I would lean with draw. This is a draw season spot, but I don't trust in Toronto showing that kind of an effort. And like you said, you should, at this point, you should have played last night like it was game 7. If that was their game 7 effort early on, that was brutal.
Where they needed the coach to step in with 2 offside challenges to save you.
That's that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you can't have that. And here you are now. And even at the end, those 2 goals, the nice goal, of course, we love seeing that with the bargain bin. But those were more of just kind of Tampa Bay kind of looking a little flustered and out of sorts at the end, trying to close that game out. That wasn't so much Toronto still, in the fight late in the contest. So I don't know if they're gonna roll that momentum over, if you will, into this game early, if at all. So this is a pass for me.
Nothing wrong with that on a Big 12 game card. David, what do you think here? Toronto, Florida.
Yeah, I like the over here. If you watch that game last night, I mean, Toronto was just so disinterested on the defensive end. I mean, Tampa was just skating all over them everywhere. I think Tampa could have had 5 in the first half of that game. But yeah, I like the over here. The only thing I'm worried about is how the Panthers come out and the pace at which they play, considering they sent half their team to Milan. So I do like the over 6, especially considering Bobrovsky has not really been at his normal form this season with a negative 15 goals saved above expected. Not saying he can't turn that around, but I think that over 6 here. That's about it.
But same props as last night for me. I mean, he's not going to be a bargain bin choice tonight, but we are going to take Hungry Nyes, Matthew Nyes, one more time tonight for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think Bobby McMahon still on the top line. There's some pretty solid value there as far as that's concerned. Mackie Samoskevich, return of the Mac. Mackie Samoskevich is on the second line for Florida, and Evan Rodriguez, top line center spot with Verhaeghe and Reinhart from the looks of things tonight. So Evan Rodriguez, there might be a little bit of a nice value there for him if you think he can find the back of the net up there centering the first line for the Florida Panthers here tonight. Detroit and Ottawa. We've got Ottawa minus 150, home favorites, 5.5 the total in some spots, 6 in others. I'm on over 5.5 here, minus 134. You know, I thought at 5.5, I'm interested in the over. We've had 3 straight overs in the series between the Red Wings and the Senators. You're probably going to see Linus Ullmark. It is going to be Joe Woll, by the way. I forgot to mention that. It hasn't been confirmed, but it's going to be him on the back-to-back. As far as the goalies here, it's going to be Gibson. It's not been confirmed that it's Gibson, but I'm sure it will be for Detroit. Ullmark has been confirmed for Ottawa. Timmy Stützle is a game-time decision right now for the Ottawa Senators. But outside of that, I know other than Matan Paulo, the defenseman, and David Perron, pretty much everyone good to go tonight. And it looks like Simon Edvinsson, who was initially expected to miss this game, looks like he is going to be okay to go here tonight for the Detroit Red Wings as well. So they're a fully healthy group going into this game. I like the way Ottawa was trending with their game going into the break. No question. I thought they were playing, but I don't like them at this price. Like if they fall behind, I'll take them live at a plus price, Ottawa, here tonight in this game, but I'm not betting them pre-flop, pre-game at minus 150. I just don't like that price enough. So the only thing I have here pre-game is over 5.5. Alex, Detroit, Ottawa.
Pre-game, I have the draw plus 340, and I have Ottawa to win in overtime or shootout at plus 500 over at both of those over at FanDuel. Any game, I'll wait for that 5.5 to drop just a little bit more into a pick and or plus money range with that 5.5. Because I do see goals here in this one, but I think this is going to be a tight division battle. And would not shock me at all to see this one go past 60. This might be one where I know Caesar still has that prop sprinkled to grab game going to shootout. I can see this one not even ending in overtime.
Yeah, no question. DeBrincat loves to play his old team, it seems. There's definitely some truth to that. Not to mention, I don't think it ended on the most friendliest of terms with him in Ottawa as well. So DeBrincat for Detroit against his old team, the Ottawa Senators. I could definitely see, there being a an axe to grind, if you will, for Alex DeBrincat here tonight in this game. As far as the props that like I said, for me, not a whole lot as much. And I would look at Casper because he's still with Larkin and Raymond. And Casper did start to pick things up, the friendly betting ghost, before the break. So that's someone to consider for the Detroit Red Wings. That would be one I'd be interested in for the Detroit Red Wings. Maybe it looks like there could be Ridley Gregg on the second line. Cousins actually might be on that line too. So whoever's on that second line spot could be something to look at. All right, David, anything you like here? Detroit, Ottawa.
Yeah, there's nothing I especially like here. The Senators were playing their best hockey of the year before the break, and I think the break came at an unfortunate time for them. And I don't really want to bet them as a favorite either. They're kind of world beaters. They like to play close games. So not a team I really want to lay a big price with. So no play for me.
Yeah, Ottawa, and I'm going to put this on the page. Make sure you're a Patreon member. If you're not, patreon.com/iceguys, $10 per month. We'll have the betting card, as we always do each and every day, posted on the page a little bit later. I will note on the Patreon card, live bet Detroit at a plus price if they fall behind at some point. That is what they're Ottawa, I should say. If they fall behind, I will look to Ottawa if they're trailing at some point here tonight. I like what Perlo's thinking here, because Ottawa's defensive game, all the defensive metrics for Ottawa were great going into the break. Really, really strong. Ullmark was starting to play better. That if you want to bet Ottawa pregame in some form, I would maybe look Detroit team total under. If you're going to go that route, because my thought is if Ottawa wins, Detroit may not get things rolling offensively. We'll see. But like I said, that's just better value than laying the minus 150 here. Batherson with 5 goals in 5 games against John Gibson. So using those head-to-head player versus goalie numbers, Batherson with a lot of success and productivity against John Gibson in the past. We'll see if that continues here tonight. All right, Columbus, Boston next up. Boston minus 115 home favorite, 6.5 the total here in this game, shaded to the under. I get why it's 6.5 because it's Jonas Korpisalo who's going to start here this first game back from the break for the Boston Bruins. And just like the last game, Detroit-Ottawa, both teams playing their first game following the break. Same thing here with Columbus and Boston. Elvis Merzlikins in net for Columbus, no surprise. Rick Bowness is clearly committed to say, hey, we like Jet Greaves, but Elvis Merzlikins has been here a long time. We think he's a number one caliber goalie. It's up to me as the new head coach. Try to give this guy an opportunity, get some confidence instilled in him again, and he's done it. I think that's the best damn thing Rick Bowness has done so far in this great run he's put together with Columbus is that Merzlikins looks like an NHL and a solid one right now with the way he's played for the Jackets. And he'll be in net here. No surprise. He's been practicing with Columbus for several days now. He's been back with the team for a while. Remember, Latvia got knocked out of the Olympic tournament earlier, so he's had time to kind of settle in. Now, with some trepidation here and some worry that the break kind of throws off this great ride and this great streak and rhythm that the Blue Jackets were on, I am still taking Columbus here, minus 105 and riding them. But, like I said, I am a little concerned that the Olympic break came at the worst fucking time for the Jackets. I mean, they couldn't have been playing any better, going into the break. Then they have this 3-week break, and now they got to try to flip that switch and get it going again. Not to mention the other element of this that makes me nervous is Boston's great at home, 21-8-1 this year at TD Garden. They've played outstanding hockey at home. That being said, I am on Columbus with some with caution. Columbus with caution. That's got a nice ring to it. Columbus with caution. That's what I like here. Columbus minus 105. Not one of my bigger bets of the night, but I am going to take Columbus and riding it one more time with them, hoping the break doesn't stunt the momentum as I worry it might. What do you think here, Alex? Columbus, Boston.
There we go, on mute. Yeah, this is a spot where I like things early, looking at both teams to score first period. Want to wait for that price first period over to drop a little bit. But like I said, I can see where, Merzlikins, as well as he's played, like I said, it was a terrible time for their break, but wouldn't shock me to see him maybe give up a quick goal early in the first. Same thing with Korpisalo. These are, two goalies where we've seen them give up goals early and then kind of get back into form as the game goes on. I feel like it could be that kind of a game. I don't like the draw in this spot necessarily. And like I said, if I had to lean with the side, Boston, as well as they played at home, I'd be inclined to back them. But like I said, just keep it simple with first period, both teams to score, and we'll be grabbing first period over live.
Yeah, it is currently for the Columbus Blue Jackets entering tonight. It's a 7-game win streak they had prior to the break, and also 10-1 is the run under Rick Bowness since he took over as head coach. So Charlie Coyle. I mean, I was going to get to that, but the chat's already talking about it, so I'll talk about it. Yeah, absolutely. I mean. Charlie Coyle back in Boston. You got to look at some kind of props, goal prop, assist prop, point prop, whatever you can think of. Even shots on goal, even though it's not my thing anymore, shots on goal props. Charlie Coyle, excited to be back in Boston. I think it's his first time back in Boston as a member of the Columbus Blue Jackets. Pretty sure that's the case. And like I said, spent a lot of good years there. And probably not only that, but who was playing great offensively for Columbus before the break? Oh, yeah, Charlie Coyle was. Charlie Coyle was terrific before the break. So, absolutely, it is his first time back in Boston. So, there you go. Yeah, Charlie Coyle props are no-brainer, in my opinion. David, how about you here? Blue Jackets, Bruins.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the Blue Jackets are a bit of a no-brainer here. 10-1 since Bowness took over. They've kind of switched the kind of game they're playing. They're sitting back in front of the net and not allowing as many chances, and I don't think it's really by chance that Merzlikins is playing better in net, not as much pressure, and I'm sure got a little more confidence in the gameplay. Boston also sent 7 guys to Milan first game back, compared to the Blue Jackets only sending Werenski and Merzlikins. So yeah, I think the Blue Jackets keep up their hot pace going into the break, and I honestly think it was more than just a hot 10 games or 11 games since Bowness took over. I think that they're going to keep trending up, and I like them tonight.
All right, there you go. And like I said, as far as props go, Charlie Coyle makes total sense here. Playing well before the break, back in Boston, the former Bruins. So all the sense in the world here to look toward Charlie Coyle. Mason Marchment, too, with Fantilli and Marchenko. There's been some nice chemistry. Kent Johnson, someone that you could maybe look at as well. He's played better under Bones since he got there. For the Boston Bruins, Murad Usnadinov, we talked about him a lot before the break. There's value there with him and Lindholm and Pasternak. Zaka was playing a little bit better. Even Middlestat was chipping in, but Fraser Minton, I probably will take a shot here with Minton again for Boston, even though he's on the third line. I like the way he played, obviously. Excellent hockey from Fraser Minton for the Boston Bruins before the Olympic break hit. All right, Tampa Bay, Carolina. David will be there in Lenovo for this one. Carolina minus 150, home favorite, 6 the total in this game. The angles here in play as well. Team that played last night versus a team playing their first game. So I do like Tampa early. First goal of the first period. You can get that in the plus 150 range in the first period money line. I am not on the full game money line, though, because I think the later the game goes, Carolina will shake things off and get a little bit better, a little bit stronger as the game goes on. Plus, it's Jonas Johansson. I don't want a full game ticket with Jonas Johansson in net here for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And Brandon Bussy's obviously going to be in net for Carolina, and he's been one of the great stories of the season. And what would Carolina do in net without Brandon Bussy? My goodness, with Freddie Anderson's struggles and obviously Kochetkov injury riddled and in and out the way he's been. Brandon Bussy has been a savior, a freaking godsend for the Carolina Hurricanes this year. Make no mistake about it. But Tampa early for me. First goal, first period money line. That's about it. Total, I'm kind of indifferent on it. Alex, what do you think here? Tampa Bay, Carolina.
Yeah, I have first goal, first period with Tampa as well, and that's pretty much it. Lean to the over. Maybe if, like I said, watching this one live, if it drops to 5.5 off of a 6, might jump in with that. It wouldn't shock me to see this. I think this is going to be kind of a weird pace game where you may see a goal early, then it slows down the second, and then ramp up in the third. And then that's something I think we can see with a lot of these teams in this, first couple of games back in. We saw that last night where the offense, it took a while for things to get rolling. So Tampa Bay being a little bit of a, say, fresher team already playing last night, get on the board first, but that should wake Carolina up, certainly. So that's the way I'm playing that. First goal, first period for now, and then add things on live.
All right, David, you'll be there. I know you always enjoy attending those Canes games at home as a season ticket holder, but what do you think here, Tampa Bay, Carolina?
Yeah, I unfortunately kind of agree with you. I don't really know what to expect from us coming out of the break. I know Aho is still not even he didn't practice yesterday or today. I guess sleeping off some things. Doesn't really seem like he's really ready to go yet. I'm not really sure what to expect. The Lightning looked like they were flying last night against the Leafs.
Yep.
I agree. I think that they're going to get the first one. I think it's a weird spot for Brandon Bussy too. I mean, I love him in net. Obviously, I've spoken about it a lot, but it's a weird spot. You keep running hot and you're playing all the time.
Playing every other day, and this break hurts him a little bit. I think that's an excellent point. Right. I'm not saying it will happen, but it could. Yeah.
Yeah, and then along with that, you have your first 3-week break inside of any season ever, and kind of reality sets in. He got his extension as well, the contract. So I think it's a weird spot. I like the over. It's very dependent on who's in net for Tampa. It looks like Johansson's confirmed. So yeah, I definitely like the over 6 a lot in that case. I think Tampa's going to come out firing, and the Canes games and the totals really depend on who is on the opposing team pressing early. If they can bag 1 or 2, then the Canes are going to up the tempo for the rest of the game. I think, I like Svechnikov props too. You can get the over 3.5 shots on goal at plus 300. I think Aho and Jarvis are going to take a little bit of a backseat, and obviously Svechnikov not getting to play in Milan, I think he's going to come out with some fire. So yeah, I like his shot on goal and goal props.
Yeah, one thing to note about Bussy is that he's already played 27 games. It's at 1,638 minutes. And just looking back at previous seasons with Providence, he has played as high as 2,400 minutes, 41 games in a professional level. So like I said, you wonder about the taxing of his body as he goes through with this condensed schedule, playing more games. I guess he's going to get about 19 to 20 more starts. So yeah, you want to see how he progresses as more minutes log on to his body.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. So, and that's a great point David raised. That why has Bussy been great? Because he's gotten in the flow, he's gotten in the rhythm, he's gotten his confidence. He's playing every day or every other, every 2-3 days, and now he's got to sit and wait for 3 weeks to finally get back in net and play in a game. That could be a negative for Bussy, for as great as he's been. So that's another reason why. And check the Patreon page, check the picks page on Patreon. I will probably put in there that I'll be targeting a live over 5, and I'm not going to bet it at 6, but at 5.5 if it falls to that. Keep in mind, we did see a lot of the games. It took several minutes for there to be a goal with most of the games last night. So there's a good chance you're going to get 5.5 here at some point. At that point, I'll probably jump in with a live over. Yeah, Jordan Staal, I think I'm going to sprinkle, even though I'm worried about these goal streaks going into the break, not being able to carry over. But the captain of the Hurricanes, Jordan Staal, did have 3 straight games with a goal before the Olympic break, and you're still getting a pretty good price on that. So probably will still sprinkle on that. All right, Philadelphia Flyers, New York Rangers. This is a first game of an ESPN doubleheader. What a great, NHL, I think it just worked out this way, but good thing that before the season, they scheduled all these national games coming out of the Olympics, trying to capitalize on the momentum. 2 TNT games last night. You have 2 ESPN games tonight. You have 2 ABC games on Saturday afternoon. And then you have a TNT game Sunday afternoon and an ESPN game, Panthers Islanders, Sunday night. So you've got yourselves 8 national TV games between Wednesday and Sunday. So that's good. You've set the table to try to get some people and some eyeballs to the set for NHL. Now, will they flock to the set? That's the greater question, right?
Golf clap to the league for actually getting it right and doing their fucking jobs and putting games on national TV after having arguably the biggest hockey moment in the last 5+ years.
Yeah, about damn time. No brainer. We shouldn't be, giving them all kinds of praise for common fucking sense, but here we are. But nevertheless, it's good to see it, because it could have been the usual 1 game on ESPN Plus, 2 games on ESPN Plus, and maybe 1 or 2 on TNT, and that's it. But to get 8 between Wednesday and Sunday on national TV.
We won't mention that it's about 5 teams playing twice over in that span, but yes, no, it's great.
Yeah, 2 of them are the Rangers. I mean, that's not exactly ideal, including tonight, but nevertheless. And plus, they gave Sean McDonough and Ray Ferraro this game, Flyers and Rangers. I guess that's because it's the East Coast game. But Rangers minus 140, home favorites, 5.5 the total in this one. Yeah, this is the angle again. Philly, first goal, first period. Philadelphia, first period, money line. I'm actually going to go a step further. Philadelphia, full game money line, plus 120. I know they're bad right now, and they're struggling. But the Rangers at home against anybody laying minus 140 with that horrendous home record at Madison Square Garden, I'm okay still taking a shot with the Flyers here. Now, it's Ersson and net for Philly. I don't like that. He's had a tough season, but it'll be him on the back-to-back after it was Vladar last night. But Igor Shesterkin, yes, he's starting, and yes, he's making his return after being out with the lower body injury for a month before the Olympic break. But the track record, guys, of these goalies off an injury and a long time away. They haven't been good in the first game. Look at Stolars for Toronto. Look at Aiden Hill for Vegas. Look at Mackenzie Blackwood for Colorado. Those are the 3 I keep going back to. All those goalies were rough, not good at all. First game after a long injury absence. So I know Shesterkin, when he's on, is great. I don't know if he's going to be on his game, coming up again off a long injury absence here. So I also like over by Fecta. I'm not on too many over by Fectas tonight, but this game is one of them. First period over, full game over, 5.5 as well with Flyers and Rangers. Alex, what do you think here? Philly, New York.
Yeah, it's the only thing I have here is the over by Fecta. I got minus $1.15 with that first period over. And I did lay the $1.34 at FanDuel with the 5.5. Not going to wait around for that one. Being an ESPN game, I could see where this, definitely, some jazz in the step, but it's hard to say with the Rangers, as bad as they've been at home all year long. Maybe the reset is a good thing for them. Maybe they can find their footing at MSG, and this would be a good team to do it against, a good goalie to do it against too, with Ersson. So over by Fecta for me as well.
Yeah, and obviously, look, Panarin was traded before the Olympic break to the LA Kings, so a team that at times can struggle offensively, especially at home, is going to be challenged even more. This is where you got to hope your Brennan Othmans and Brennan Brissons and Lafreniere is a good second half, and maybe Miller and Trocheck get an Olympic gold medal bump, from being on Team USA, and Gabe Perreault who I actually like for a goal prop tonight. Gabe Perreault is someone that I think, let's see what he's made of. It's a guy that scored a bunch of goals in college, trying to find his footing here at the NHL level. He's still only got just the 3 goals so far in 24 games. He did have a 2-goal game against Ottawa back on January 14th, but still getting the opportunity with Zibanejad and Miller, it looks like, on the top line. So like I said, Perreault, I think there's some solid value there up on that top line for him to find the back of the net. That's definitely one of the props I would look at with him. Zegras, I think, for some reason, I have a feeling he might find the back of the net here tonight for the Philadelphia Flyers, a guy that, saw his fellow American players win the gold. He was not on that team, so maybe that stimulates Trevor Zegras to put some numbers up coming out of the Olympic break. David, what do you think here? Philadelphia Flyers, New York Rangers.
Yeah, good on the NHL for ESPN for getting these games and riding off the steam of the Olympics and getting the games on. But I think they got the wrong one. If only there was a matchup in the East.
Like Domingue in that interview during the playoffs. Not the best. Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine if there were the 2 Eastern Conference favorites playing each other tonight. But whatever. But yeah, I like the over with you guys. Samuel Harrison, I mean, he's been struggling. Minus 18 goals saved above expected in 24 games this season. Shesterkin, we obviously know he's an upgrade over Quick, but that first game back, especially with 2 months off, a lot of time to think. I don't know. I think it's a rough spot for both goalies, and I like the over. I think the Flyers are going to play with some urgency over the next 2 weeks. The game last night against the Capitals was a pretty decent pace, so I think that continues. I like the over 5.5.
All right, good stuff. Seattle, St. Louis. We've got St. Louis minus 140, home favorites, 5.5 the total. There you go, Energized got it. That's the spicy pork and broccoli interview. Not the best. That's what we're saying. We're giving the Louis Domingue to that Flyers Rangers choice as the ESPN first game of the doubleheader tonight. This one, I'm on Seattle first goal, first period. Seattle first period money line. And I'm going a step further with Seattle full game money line as well, plus 120, splitting it across all 3. They played last night. Disappointing loss in Dallas against the Stars, losing 4-1. St. Louis, first game following the break. I expect an advantage for the Kraken. Not to mention they're just the flat-out better team. I mean, St. Louis is awful, and St. Louis wasn't even playing good going into the break. You got Jordan Kyrou on the trade, block. Robert Thomas on the trade block for this St. Louis Blues team. Now, they are resting Jordan Binnington tonight. It'll be Joel Hofer in net for the Blues. Philip Grubauer will be on the back-to-back here starting for Seattle after it was Joey Decord last night. But, yeah, pretty clear here. I like Seattle. And Seattle actually has beaten them, I think, 2 in a row, including earlier this season. So first goal, first period money line, and full game money line for me here with Seattle. Alex, what do you think here? Kraken, Blues.
Yeah, I'm just keeping this real simple. First period over 1.5 minus $1.15, especially like I said, we're seeing Hofer in that. I think those rumors about Bennington being moved could possibly be kind of calmed down now after another great international outing. We were hearing that rumor of the possible big trade with Minnesota and St. Louis during the Olympic break, but I just don't see where that has a whole lot of steam. Nor do I think the Wild would even be able to keep it or have the money for Robert Thomas and Jordan Binnington, as it was reported. So he gets the night off. Hofer in. Hofer's, he is what he is. He's your backup guy. He's going to spell Binnington and try to steal you a game, and he could possibly do that here against a Seattle team that, I think Seattle could run out of steam here in this playoff stretch. I think what we saw from them last night might be more of what Seattle just looks like as a whole. But I like goals here early, and minus $1.15. I'm willing to jump in on that. So first period over only for me.
Yeah, I'm also going to tack on the draw and the full game over 5.5 as well in this game, simply because this could even be an over by fact, because I'm just looking at it now. St. Louis was an over machine before the break. Now, again, the break could stunt the momentum a bit. We've talked about that, and that's a theme with all these games. You could always see a streak disrupted by this break. The Columbus streak could be disrupted. We're going to get to Minnesota overs in just a little bit. That could get disrupted, but still, I'm willing to ride these kind of streaks. Maybe with a little bit more caution with this being the first game after a long extended hiatus, but I'm still willing to ride a streak like this with St. Louis overs. Again, I think it's 6 straight Blues games going into the break that went over the total. So Yeah, I'll add, and I got to add the draw too, because the last two meetings have gone past regulation between them. So draw over Seattle in those three various forms as well. First goal, first period, full game. David, what do you think here? Seattle, St. Louis.
Yeah, I think the only place you can go with this is to Seattle. I think the Blues are looking like they're a little bit committed to selling right now at the deadline. I think Kyrie's available, obviously Thomas, and maybe Bennington as well. So they've been the worst bet in a long time as a favorite this season. I don't know the exact numbers off of the top of my head, but they've been brutal as a favorite. The Kraken are obviously trying to make a playoff push. I think that we're going to get a better effort out of the Kraken, so I like them as an underdog.
Yeah, especially, look, I know they're in a spot right now in the playoffs, but I know they're not thrilled with the way it went last night against Dallas. Now you're playing a team that you feel going into it, you should beat this team. I expect that kind of an urgency type of effort tonight from the Seattle Kraken. All right, just as far quickly on the prop situation here with this game. For Seattle, Berkeley Catton is back, and he's on the second line. So he could have a little bit of value there as far as his prop tonight for the Kraken. And then I would say on the St. Louis side, he is back. Dylan Holloway, our guy. Holloway, I don't know how much he's like. They don't. I don't think they have him as of now listed on the top six, because I see Neighbors, Buchnevich, Kyrou, Shen, Dvorsky, and Snuggerud in that top spot. But Holloway and Dvorsky are two St. Louis props I'd consider in this game here. Chicago, Nashville. We've got Chicago around plus 140, plus 150 dogs. Nashville upwards of minus 170 here as favorites. 6.5 the total in this game. This is a check the Patreon page game. I'm just waiting on a couple of things. I know what I'm waiting on. I'm waiting on the goaltender for Nashville. UC Saros is a game time decision here for this game for the Predators. And they're going to wait till I think right before puck drop, or at least closer to puck drop to determine if he's going to be in. It's not injury related, but he is a game time decision. It looks like here for the Predators, as is Eric Howla as well. But game time decision, which means if it's not Saros, and Saros had a great Olympics. He was not playing well for Nashville going into the Olympics, but boy, he had a great Olympic performance for Finland in that tournament. We'll see if he's able to carry over that strong performance here to the NHL now post-Olympic break. But if it's not going to be UC Saros in net, then it's going to be Justus Annunen. And under no way, shape, or form do I think a Nashville team with Justus Annunen in net should be minus 170 over anybody. So that's what I'm waiting on here. If it's Justus Annunen in net, I'm going to be very interested in Chicago here at this price. And I know Chicago didn't play well going into the break at all. It was a 1-5, 1-6 slide. They got shut out by Columbus in that last game before the break. But like I said, if it's Annunen in net, we're going to be putting Chicago in the pocket at plus 150. That's what I'm waiting on. So no bet as of now. We're just waiting on that. And team total over 2.5 for Chicago will be a bet too if it's on. And Alex, what do you think here? Chicago, Nashville.
Yeah, I like the team total regardless of who's in net, because either you're talking about Saros, who, keep in mind, Team Finland, they did not go to Florida when they came back home. They went through New York, and so they got kind of tripped up with the whole snowstorm. That's why you've been seeing some of the Finnish players kind of in and out of different lineups the last couple of nights. So if it is Annunen, and I will also add money line to that, but I like team total flat free at plus 110, regardless of who's starting for Nashville. So I'm backing that with Chicago. Also have a bargain bin play that I really like quite a bit from this game as well. But like I said, just keep it kind of small with those spots. For the Hawks, this is a chance for them to, okay, if they're not going to make the playoffs, they can certainly play spoiler. Nashville, Utah, San Jose, those are teams that they have quite a few games left against, teams that are trying to climb their way into that wild card race. So the Hawks are still in the middle of that race technically, but I think their best option right now is to kind of play spoiler, to see how, what you can do in these last 25 games as far as just continuing to build on the rebuild and try to get some more experience winning games. This will be a good test and a good spot.
There you go. So regardless of goaltender for Nashville, Alex liking the team total here for the Chicago Blackhawks. David, what do you think here? Blackhawks Predators.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like the Blackhawks. I think Bedard's going to have something to prove, and the Blackhawks really they had this whole break to think about things. I know Bedard did. They only sent Teravainen was the only guy that they sent to
Yes.
Milan. I think the Preds are in a weird spot. They talked a bit guys like Stamkos and Marchessault about wanting out and wanting a trade, and now they're looking at maybe making a playoff push. They're kind of in no man's land. I don't think it's going to happen, but they're kind of in no man's land. I don't really know what to expect from them after this break. I kind of think that they're just going to trend down. They looked pretty good for the month before the break. I think they're going to trend straight down. I like the Blackhawks getting a great price at plus 150.
All right. I think all three of us in some form kind of think Chicago might be live here tonight in this spot, in this situation, certainly given the price that you're on. There's our guy, the future aspiring and future NHL play-by-play man to be, Jarek Rubel in the chat. John Weideman out sick. Dana Gray taking over radio play-by-play this road trip for the 2 or 3 people that might be interested in that tidbit. And I'm one of them. And Alex probably too.
Right.
But there we go. Great stuff, Jarek. Appreciate that. That's good. But yeah, John Weideman does a great job. But the radio, obviously, long time for the Blackhawks. So looks like he's under the weather. I'll tell you who was under the weather last night was freaking Kenny Albert. Holy shit, man. You could tell that Olympic run there, 16 games or 14 games in 16 days, whatever it was, took a toll on his voice. Holy shit.
Yeah, I said in our group chat during the first intermission, they were talking to him, and I was like, he sounded like he smoked a couple of Black and Milds. Like his voice was shot completely. So.
He needs a couple days rest. I hope they're giving him the Sunday game. Vegas, they have Vegas Pittsburgh on TNT on Sunday afternoon. They better give him that day off. He deserves one. Yeah, send Brendan Burke or Forsland or someone else to that game. Kenny needs a day off. After hearing his poor voice last, he had nothing left. He's given it the best, is all the best he can, but you could tell he had nothing left in the tank after the great job he did in Italy calling the Winter Olympics. All right, I like the Bedard props too. I mean, I haven't bet a ton of Bedard props in games this year, but I just have that feeling coming out of the break. There'll be a burr under his saddle here for this Minnesota or for the Chicago Blackhawks team. So, like I said, his props might be something to consider here. All right, this might be the game of the night. Minnesota, Colorado. Next up, we've got Colorado minus 150 home favorites, 6.5 the total in this game. We're not going to bore you with the details because you guys already know damn well what I like in this game. Over 6.5. This great Minnesota run, 18-2 to the over their last 20 games, 21-5 to the over since Quinn Hughes got there. Now I know all of this was pre-Olympic break. Olympic break can stunt momentum and rhythm sometimes, but it could happen with all these things. I'm still riding it. How can you not? Because I can't just say, the Olympic break's here, even though I basically go to the ATM machine every night with a Minnesota over ticket winner and just say, the Olympic break, can't bet it tonight. No, can't do that. I cannot do that. Will not do that. So yeah, are there concerns that maybe the rhythms hurt a little bit by the break with this Minnesota overtrain? Yeah, maybe. But like I said, I think it's still got to bet it when it's 18-2 in the last 20 games. So over 6.5 for me. I'll look at a live first period over as well, a little bit better price once that drops a bit. So I will turn this into a bifecta live with a first period over look. I don't know about the side. I did bet Colorado first goal, first period, plus 110 at FanDuel, just because it's the angle of Colorado played last night, game under their belt. Minnesota first game after the break. From all indications, John Hines saying that all the Olympians for Minnesota are playing tonight. Sounds like Brock Faber's in, Quinn Hughes is in. The rest, they're all playing here in this game tonight for Minnesota. And I think McKinnon will be back tonight. They rested him last night. He was a scratch against Utah. I do think Nathan McKinnon will be back tonight here for Colorado. So, yeah, over 6.5, and I will look at a live first period over as well. I'm tempted by the draw, believe it or not, too. And Colorado first goal, first period. But I'm maybe tempted by the draw, too, because we have seen Minnesota in particular, at least before the break was concerned, be a team that was involved in a lot of overtime. I mean, to the tune of 5 of their last 7 games before the break went past regulation. 5 of their last 7. That's a lot of overtimes they played. So just because of that track record, I may have to dabble in the draw here as well. Alex, what do you think? Minnesota, Colorado.
My only pregame bet is the draw. I grabbed plus 350, which is still available at FanDuel. We'll be on the over by factor, but I'm waiting for both in game, not just the 1.5 to drop in price. I'm waiting for that 6.5 to possibly drop to a 6. Like I said, I don't think the momentum is going to be thrown off too much. And I think the fact that you had Colorado already get a game in kind of helps to that over a little bit. But at 6.5, I just think that, even money, I could wait and try and grab a 6 land. I'd rather lay 130 with a flat 6. than talking about laying $1.05, $1.10 with a 6.5. So waiting for the totals in game, but I will be on that draw pregame plus 350 available once you get at FanDuel.
Yeah, I like Hartman, too, for value on the Minnesota top line, centering it. Tarasenko was really good before the break. Does the break hurt his momentum? But, I think he could be worth a shot. Brock Nelson for Colorado. We know how good he was before the break. Natchez obviously has been terrific, still with McKinnon and Landeskog. Landeskog, I think, on the top line, it looks like tonight for Colorado might be worth a look as well as far as goal prop there. So those are a couple of the props I'd be looking at in this game. And a game we do think there could be some goals scored in it. David, what do you think here? Minnesota, Colorado.
Yeah, like you said, not going to really bore anybody with the details. I mean, we've been riding this train on the Wild Overs since Hughes got there, and it's not going to stop now. I think this is the perfect spot for it too. 21-5 with him in the lineup, and one of those 5 was against the Avalanche. But you look at that game, there were 9 expected goals in that game, just a ton of chances both ways. It stayed under 5-1 final, but yeah, I think we see both teams flying here, and I think we see an easy over.
All right, there we go. So all of us signing up for another ride, hopefully another ride on the Minnesota Wild Over Express here tonight. As they take on the Colorado Avalanche. So I mentioned the props. All right, good. And I expect the goaltending to be up. We saw Scott Wedgwood last night for Colorado, so I would assume Mackenzie Blackwood gets the nod tonight, and it's already confirmed that Philip Gustafsson will be starting in net for Minnesota. And I don't love his game right now, Minnesota. It's another thing that's good for the over. I didn't love the way Gustafsson played with the Wild before the break. I didn't love his performance with Sweden at the Olympics. This is a goalie that's been a little shaky lately here for the Minnesota Wild. I know Terry Edelmans of the world don't want to hear that, but like I said, I don't think he was all that sturdy the last few times we've seen him in net. All right, Calgary, San Jose. We've got San Jose minus 130, home favorite, 6.5 the total in this game. I've still got memories, by the way, of Gustafsson, of that horrific rebound he spit right back into the slot against Italy. Remember when Italy shocked the world with the first goal in that game against Sweden? That was one of the worst rebound control moments you'll ever see from Philip Gustafsson. It was just a sign that hasn't been as good. So we got to bust it out. What's troubling you, Gus? What's troubling Gus? Not playing as well. That's what's troubling him. All right, Calgary, San Jose. San Jose, again, I don't want to bore you with the details, for the sake of brevity and keeping the show at a reasonable length, but I'm on San Jose here. You're going to give me minus 130 at home against Calgary. Calgary is a team that, has an awful road record. This team's only won 8 road games all season. 8. That is it for this Calgary team. I think 8-19 is their road record. San Jose did not play well going into the break. So I think for Celebrini, Will Smith, all these young kids, Eklund, there's a sense of urgency here because San Jose did not play their best going into the break. It was a great first half overall before the Olympic break, but they stumbled. They stubbed their toe the last several games before the Olympic break. So I think they come out focused, dialed in, ready to go. And if they do, they're better than Calgary, flat out, period. So I like San Jose here, minus 130. Alex, what do you think here? Flames, Sharks.
I'll take it one step further. Give me Sharks in regulation plus 120 available over at FanDuel. He said this is just, at this point now, the bad teams, the bottom 5 teams, be it in the West, East, or just in the overall in the league, you just fade them. And when you get in a good price. And I think this is a good price to back San Jose. Also like Pavel Regenda. I mentioned I liked his game during the Olympics. I liked his game. We liked his game before the Olympics. I think his momentum can continue. I will be on him to score a goal tonight.
Yeah, 4 straight losses it was for the Sharks going into the break. I think they come out ready to go tonight. They say, hey, that's then, this is now. We have a chance to make the playoffs. We have a chance to resuscitate this franchise and make this a season that nobody saw coming because not many people thought San Jose would be buzzing around a playoff spot right now. But they have a chance to do something special, this young group. And with the determination I saw Macklin Celebrini play with for Canada, even in a losing cause at the Olympics, because he was their best player. I think you could make that argument. That's how good Macklin Celebrini was. Unbelievable on that stage. You think that guy's playing like a guy that doesn't want to be denied at anything he does. So, like I said, I think that's going to spur on this San Jose team here, especially tonight coming out of the break against a beatable foe. What do you think here, David? Flames, Sharks?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think the Sharks are going to have some jump. I think the Flames are in a bit of a weird spot. Like they're obviously going to be looking at sellers for some of the guys, and I just don't know how much they're going to care about these games, especially leading up to the trade deadline. I mean, I'm sure that they're going to but they're not going to be looking to win that desperately. I think the Sharks are in the opposite boat. I think that they're going to have some spark, and that's the only way I can go with this game.
Yeah, definitely. Now Calgary didn't play great going into the break either. 2-6 for the Calgary Flames in their last 8 games before the break. One of those 2 wins was against San Jose, actually. In Calgary, it was 3-2, and I remember being on San Jose in that game, and they just didn't play well. They got outplayed. It was a bad game for San Jose. That's when they were struggling in those games. I think it's going to be a different San Jose team here tonight, though. And like I said, I think they get the job done. As far as props go, this is one night I think, you look at Celebrini, you look at the big guns up front, the core young the young core for San Jose. Like I said, Celebrini, Will Smith. Kiefer Sherwood's got value because he's playing with Celebrini. And we know Kiefer Sherwood, when he's got a good centerman to play with, he can find the back of the net. And like I said, I like what Alex mentioned there with Pavel Regenda and the way, although it looks like Regenda, is that true? Regenda's not playing tonight? Let's see.
I'm not seeing it if he might be out for the first game. So
yeah,
he's somebody I have ironed. As soon as he gets back in the lineup, I will be betting.
Yeah. Like, no doubt. Like, this might just be a rest scenario tonight for him. If I was going to bet, then it should be Dustin Wolf in net for Calgary, I believe, tonight here in this game. This first game back hasn't been confirmed. And it is Yaroslav Askarov here for San Jose who will get the start. And then, I think there was someone I had in mind as far as props for Calgary. I'm trying to think. Oh, yeah, Sharon Govich, because he's up with Backlund and with Coronado on the top line for the Calgary Flames. All right, last game of this. Oh, my God. The 2 dumpster fires, the 2 tire fires of the first night back from NHL action going head-to-head. What are we going to get here? The Edmonton Oilers and the Los Angeles Kings. We've got even money, -110 both sides, 6.5 the total in this game. You couldn't pay me to bet a side in this game. You couldn't. I'm not taking Edmonton. I think the last someone mentioned this stat. I think it was on the show I did with Jimmy the Bag earlier, my Thursday spot on his show. The Oilers are 0-8 in their last 8 on a back-to-back on the road. So not to mention after the shit show of last night, blowing multiple leads, losing to Anaheim. I don't want Edmonton. I don't want LA. After what I saw last night, you let a Vegas team depleted. Every key contributor, every best player on that Vegas team was pretty much out of the lineup, and you still lose in Artemi Panarin's debut at home against the Vegas Golden Knights, 6-4. That is definitely not a profile of a team I want to back. So you couldn't do anything to get me to bet a side here in this game with the Oilers and Kings. But what I will do is bet over 6.5. I really, really, really do like that, even though I don't like a side. I don't trust I had the LA Kings earmarked as an over team once they got Panarin, at least a little bit, that they're going to start to play a few more overs, that they're going to start to score more goals, look a little bit better offensively. He had 2 points, of course, last night for the Kings. He had a very good first game. And offensively, they did look a little better. And their power play even scored early in that game. And Panarin helped that out quite a bit. It's probably going to be now, this was supposed to be Connor Ingram's start all along. I don't see why that would change, even though he came in during the third period, especially the way Jari played. I think it's a damning statement for Jari that knowing Ingram had this start lined up, that Chris Knobloch still thought it was bad enough for Jari that he had to get him out of there and give him the hook in the third period. But I expect Connor Ingram for Edmonton. Darcy Kemper, of course, for LA. They gave Anton Forsberg the start last night. So definitely, I think Kemper and it is confirmed Kemper tonight. Again, Kemper hasn't played in a while. He was just sitting in the stands at Santa Giulia was the name of that arena there in Milan, Italy. That's all he was doing. He didn't get into any game action for Canada at the Olympics. So I don't know if he's going to be all that sharp in his first start in quite some time. So I'm on over 6.5 here, and I will add a first period over if the number drops a little bit. It's a little too pricey pregame, but we'll add the over first period live, over 6.5 pregame for me here, Oilers Kings. Alex, what do you think here, Edmonton, LA?
Yeah, I kept it simple with the draw. Plus 350 is the best price available over at FanDuel. Shop around if you can, because I'm seeing plus 300 at MGM, 305 at BetOnline. 350 is available at FanDuel. These are just 2 sloppy teams, but they need the points. And we know the Kings, they've been overtime darlings all season long. So plus 350, that's worth the stamp.
This could get messy, and it's actually could be a scary but entertaining nightcap for the ESPN audience, because this is the second game of the ESPN doubleheader tonight. Oilers and Kings with Mr. Mike Monaco and Cassie Campbell Pascal calling this one. And shout out to Mike Monaco, too. Not only an up-and-coming good young play-by-play guy, but he had the post right after that Olympic game, the gold medal game on Sunday, saying, my NHL back on Thursday for me. Tune in. Watch this league. Support it. Banging on the drum that especially Alex is banging, for the, to support the league. It's a great league, great players. Tune in. Watch. Mike Monaco was all over that coming out of the gold medal game. So well done by him, to try to drum up some excitement, enthusiasm, and some carryover effect from the Olympics to the NHL resuming. David, what do you think here? Edmonton, LA.
Yeah, I like the over a lot in this one. I think we've seen over the last, at least the last few weeks before the break, the Oilers had opened the games up even more than previously. You look at their last 8 games, have been 72 goals, 9. I think there's 72 or 9 goals per game over the last 8 games, all 8 going over. The Kings are on a 10-1 overrun. They're not.
Oh, David, we lost your audio. Your audio just cut out. I think it's because you got the wireless earbuds. I think it might have.
You got me?
You got you.
Got you now.
You're good again. Yep.
All right, cool. Could you hear what I said? I said the Oilers
10-1. I heard 10-1.
Okay.
And cut out.
Yeah. 10-1 run for the overs with the Kings. We're used to them playing a little slow game. Throw Panarin into the mix. It's kind of a different game. I think they speed up the tempo. Sometimes you see that with these stars going to new places, adjusting to it. I think that they open up the game a bit, and I think the Oilers are fine with that. You could see last night just a back and forth game the whole time, track meet. I think we see the same thing tonight. I like the over 6.5.
All right, yeah. Like I said, this could be actually a fun ESPN nightcap. It could be. It just feels like it's going to be one of those. Because, look, I'll say this about Edmonton, LA. You wouldn't necessarily think anything's fun and exciting about the Los Angeles Kings for the longest time. But when it's Edmonton versus LA, if you include their first-round playoff series last spring, it's actually 6-1 run to the over in their last 7 games head-to-head. So it's actually been a lot of, higher scoring, higher event hockey head-to-head between these two teams. And they only met the one previous time earlier in the regular season in Edmonton back in January, and it was a 4-3 LA victory in a shootout in Edmonton. So, like I said, it has been actually a sneaky over series history recently between Edmonton and LA. As far as props go tonight, for Edmonton, I'd say Roslovic and Savoy. They both, are dangerous every night. Roslovic scored, Matt Savoy, very capable. Flanking Draisaitl. There's still value with those two alongside Leon on that second line. And then I think for Los Angeles, Panarin was great in his debut. Laferriere, probably worth a look. I think Byfield even had a noticeable game for the LA Kings. And then one down the lineup that we got to look at, considering Edmonton's the opponent, 2 players, in fact. How about Corey Perry, and how about Warren Fogle? The Fogue Daddy for LA. Both of them former members of the Edmonton Oilers. So just that former player angle means I think Warren Fogle and Corey Perry might be worth a look here as far as props on the Kings side of the equation here. All right, good stuff. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Great show as always. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Yeah, that was Perry and Jeffrey Lozon for Vegas. That was a good scrap, good fight in that Golden Knights Kings game last night, no question. Great show. I like this card. Hopefully the results show it later tonight. All right, wizardsportspicks.com. Make sure you check it out. I mean, another college basketball premium winner last night, 12-1 college basketball streak. I mean, not just a hockey guy. I mean, most people know that from a betting standpoint. We're doing well in other sports too, and college basketball is one of them. 12-1 college basketball run, profitable seasons in NHL, NBA, and college basketball right now. Check it out, wizardsportspicks.com, and I will have the Beyond the Lines video for Friday as well posted on the YouTube channel, so check that out. And of course, patreon.com/iceguys, $10 per month. Goalie charts, totals charts, they've been posted over the last few days. The great strength of schedule document Jonathan Davis sent along for us to post, a nice puck line and first goal score chart to this point in the NHL season. That's helpful for making betting decisions. And of course, the daily betting card, sides, totals, player props, posted each and every day on the Patreon page. And again, lots of betcasts coming up March, April, May, June, the rest of the season that will be exclusive to our great Patreon members. So again, get on board. Just $10 per month. Your membership goes a long way to supporting the show and keeping it going long term. $10 per month. Get on board at patreon.com/iceguys.
And also check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. You got 2 days left to save 20% off all items in the store. Hit the redeem button at the homepage, add your items to your cart, and 20% will be taken off the checkout. So it's a great time to get yourself a hoodie, a jacket, a cap, maybe all three of the above. Right now, save 20% off in the next 2 days. That's at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
There you go. 2 days to take advantage of that Ice Guys store discount offer. Great question here. Are all the plays from this stream on the Patreon? Yes. The plays we mentioned on the show that we said we're on, we'll post them they'll be on the Patreon card posted later. And oftentimes added plays that we don't mention on the show because we're on the fence or we need a little more information before pulling the trigger. Anything we add post daily show, that's included on the Patreon page with the daily betting card as well, with the sides, the totals, and the player props. Yes,
Chicago, Nashville, a good example where we're waiting for confirmation of net, for the Predators.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when I say check the Patreon page, it means I'm probably going to be involved and in action in that game, but just not sure which direction yet until we get the information we need. Absolutely. All right, bargain bin special of the night. Best bets coming up. 3-0, not 3-0, but 3 bargain bin special winners last night on the show. We'll see if we can add to it tonight. That's coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guy sponsors.
Wizard Sports Picks, featuring the finest handicappers in the universe. Sharp insights, trusted picks, and relentless results. We strive to help you become consistent winners. This is Wizard Sports Picks.
All right, bargain bin special of the night. I don't know if we can follow up what we did last night. It'll be hard to. 3 bargain bin special winners, but as always, we will try. Alex, we'll start with you. Bargain bin special of the night.
Yeah, once again, I got a pair of them. We'll start with that Columbus-Boston game. I think we all love the spot. You got him returning home. He's been red hot before the break. Charlie Coyle, anytime goal scorer, right on the number, plus 300. And over at FanDuel, that would be my first bargain bin special. My second bargain bin special, we head down to Music City. You got Nashville and the Blackhawks. Chicago, one of the players that were, back at home. I don't know if he was necessarily resting, but Ryan Donato welcomed a little baby girl during the break. So looking at dad bump angle, you get him anytime goal scorer plus 525 at FanDuel. So that'd be my second bargain bin. So we'll go Charlie Coyle, anytime goal plus 300 for CBJ, and Ryan Donato, anytime goal plus 525 for the Hawks. My 2 bargain bin specials for this Thursday.
There we go. Awesome stuff. David, bargain bin special of the night.
Yeah, I'll be there tonight, so I got to get 2 from the Canes Lightning game. I like Andrei Svechnikov over 3.5 shots on goal plus 300. I think that he's going to be fresh after staying home with Russia not going to the Olympics. And then you look at Jarvis and Aho, who are probably a little bit fatigued. Aho not even practicing. They said that he was feeling a little down and fatigued. So I think Svech takes over and hits the over 3.5 shots on goal. He had 9 shot attempts in the first meeting and scored and hit the post. So, and then I also got a goal scorer. I got Sean Walker plus 1,200. He's been taking over more of a shooting role all over the ice, throwing pucks at the net everywhere. He's played over 22 minutes in each of the last 5 games, getting a lot of minutes. I think that line might play a little more over Slavin. Slavin obviously having the a little bit more rest off of the Olympic run. So I like Sean Walker, anytime goal scorer, plus 1,200.
All right, there you go. Sean Walker is shooting the puck. Now you just need it to go in for you for that
Right.
plus 1,200. But Svechnikov, too, over 3.5 shots to get it at that. What was that price on that? Over 3.5 shots for Svech?
Plus 300.
Plus 300. There you go. All right, 2 bargain bin specials. Kakalaki for the Hurricanes there for David with his bargain bin special. I have 2, and actually it's a common one with Alex. One of my 2, Charlie Coyle, of course, no brainer. I like Charlie Coyle, that goal prop, quite a bit. Shop around. I was able to get plus 325 with Charlie Coyle as far as a bargain bin special. But there's plus 325 at Novig, plus 310 at Pinnacle, plus 300 right on the nose at BetMGM, FanDuel. So shop around. But yeah, Charlie Coyle, Columbus, going back to Boston. One of my 2 bargain bin specials. And the other, we're going to Pittsburgh. Even though I like New Jersey to score early and hopefully win the first period, I'm on a Pittsburgh Penguin bargain bin special. Avery Hayes on the top line with Raquel and Rust. It looks like he's going to fill the Crosby shoes on that line. This is a guy that got 2 goals for the Pittsburgh Penguins against Buffalo in the final game before the Olympic break. You remember it. It was an NHL debut as well. But he thrived in it. They gave him big ice time. And now here he is, maybe it looks like on the top line from all indications tonight for Pittsburgh. Avery Hayes, Pittsburgh Penguins, plus 465. A great price as well for my second bargain bin special for this Thursday. All right, best bets. Alex, what do you like for best bet?
Let's go with that Kraken Blues first period over. You can get that right now, minus $1.15 at FanDuel. I just expect to see 2 goals in the first 20 minutes of that contest. So keep it simple. Seattle, St. Louis first period over. My Thursday best bet.
There you go. St. Louis, Seattle, first period over for Alex with best bet. David, best bet.
I got to go with the Blue Jackets at plus 100. They've shown that they're a whole different team under Rick Bowness. Bruins with 7 players coming back from the Olympics. Not sure how fresh they're going to be. And obviously, Korpisalo in net, major downgrade from Swayman. They're playing their best hockey of the year. I think they continue it. And I think they get some saves from Merzlikins and put up a good fort in front of them. So, yeah, the Blue Jackets plus 100 is my best bet.
There you go. Columbus moneyline best bet for David, and he'll be on the show with us Fridays moving forward, starting next week. But if you see him on TV or camera during the game tonight, don't be alarmed. That's just what he does. So make sure you're aware of that. He gets a lot of FaceTime sometimes on those games down at the Lenovo Center. All right, my best bet here for this Thursday, you know what it's going to be. Come on. The best over streak going. We just keep rocking with it. We're going to rock with it one more time here. Colorado and Minnesota over 6.5. Actually, wait, there's a couple books that have actually fallen to 6 in some spots. But no, we'll give you the over 6 minus 120. Oh, thank you. Thanks for the half goal drop. I don't, I'll take. Colorado, Minnesota over 6 minus 120. That is what we will go with for best bet here for this Thursday NHL card. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Great show. And like I said, no Alex tomorrow. Alex will not be on tomorrow, but he'll be back on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So just me and Matt Robinson, holding it down on Friday. We'll get Matt to talk a little bit about his outdoor game in Utah over the weekend. That was quite the experience there with the Reno Ice Raiders playing outdoors there. I think it says the first ever outdoor game his senior men's league had ever had. So pretty cool stuff. We'll get his thoughts on how fun that was to participate in that. So Matt Robinson and yours truly on the Friday edition of the show. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex and David, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Thursday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we are back Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, for another edition of the Ice Guys.